The gun control debate rages on as people take the streets in protest.
Studies say millennials may be negatively impacted by social media.
And a local artist seeks to challenge conventional ideas of identity. All this and more in moments. Welcome to the Report program. Hello and welcome to another special edition of the Report program. I'm Tamika Adams.
Hello, I'm Brenda Gonzalez. This program is produced and created by broadcast journalism students at California State University, Fullerton.
And I'm Marisela Perez, and after the Parkland, Florida shooting, people are asking for a new gun reform and an end to school shootings. Hundreds gathered in Irvine, California to march as part of the March for Our Lives demonstration. Here's what some of the protesters had to say. On March 24th, hundreds of people gathered outside of Congresswoman Mimi Walters' office in Irvine to march for their lives. Youth, parents, and grandparents marched from Mimi Walters' office to Jamboree Street to call for changes in gun laws and an end to school shootings.
It's severely important that people make this a priority and that we create gun reform because, you know, laws made in 1791 cannot regulate weapons that are being created now in the future. It's insane to think otherwise.
Why would a 18-year-old need to buy an AR-15 for what, you know? I cannot drink, I cannot smoke, I cannot do all those things that only harm myself, but I can purchase something that could harm a lot of people. It doesn't make sense to me.
I want to see assault rifles not available to civilians.
I don't understand how they can keep on blaming people instead of blaming what's the actual problem. You know, I think it needs to change now, and I think we are the future and we are the new America, and it has to change.
We have to fight for
to
our
win.
rights. We have to fight for our right to live. We have to fight for our right to learn. We have to fight for our right to live in peace.
I just don't believe that people have the right to have weapons as dangerous as assault weapons.
I would like to see more gun regulation again. You know, no child needs an AR-15.
Activists hope that this is just the beginning of this movement and that today's youth become tomorrow's leaders. This is Marisela Perez reporting for the Report program. With this movement, the organizers hope to make a change in gun control laws and inspire others to get involved.
As the conversation for gun control continues, gun right activists argue their way of life. Reporter Elisa Frater has more.
Guns. The right to own them is in the Second Amendment of our Constitution. It was established to give us a militia and an individual right to bear arms. Guns are intended to be used for personal protection as well as recreational activities. Gun owner and collector Steve Johnson explains why he owns guns.
You know, but then I kind of got into guns, a .22 and a shotgun, because I was into target shooting, you know, clay bird shooting. Then I met some friends when I got older that took me out to do some dove hunting with the shotguns, and then a friend of mine took me into deer hunting.
Unfortunately, in today's society, guns are being used for mass shootings in elementary schools, high schools, and colleges all over the nation. This gun violence has become normal in the United States. Since the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012, there have been almost 200 school shootings. Students and others throughout the country have been protesting for gun control. Even with all of this violence, there are still people out there who believe that we should have gun rights.
Gun rights are something that was provided in our Constitution from the very founders of our country. The reason that we have the Second Amendment placed in that Constitution is to protect us from not only enemies that may attack us or harm us, but from our own government, from getting control.
Mike Rustin is a firm believer in gun rights, but he also sees that there is a major problem with gun violence in the U.S. He believes that it is not the gun that should be dealt with, but the people using the gun. Since the most recent mass shooting in Florida, the government is being pressed for some type of reform. The government must decide how to accommodate the rights of the Second Amendment as well as keep our schools, homes, and streets safe. This has been Alyssa Freiter for the Report program.
Cities across California have begun to take formal stances in regards to Senate Bill 54, the sanctuary state law. West Covina City Council met this Tuesday in an open session to discuss if it would be making such a stance in the future. Reporter Michael Patterson has more on this story.
Supporters and detractors of Senate Bill 54 clashed at an open session of the West Covina City Council this Tuesday as the council decided if it would take a formal stance on the bill moving forward. The bill, known as the Sanctuary State Law, is now in the forefront of the ongoing debate over immigration in the state of California, with more cities deciding whether to publicly support or oppose the bill.
And I'm scared to come home with my parents gone. I'm scared. I cry about it all night, and I'm scared.
You guys, when did this happen where people can just disobey the federal government? Let me know. You're responsible.
That they're robbing our state blind. I am tired of it. I pay tax dollars. There are illegals that don't have to do anything at all.
Two ladies before me said, West Covina is a city of immigrants, and you need to stand with us.
The public expressed their opinions on the issue to the council for over 4 hours, while people on both sides of the issue took to the outside of the council to make their voices heard.
It's a very negative way of thinking. I feel like if you're anti-SB 54, you want families to be divided, you want friends and even just neighbors to be divided, and it's a sad way to think, you know.
Despite efforts from Mayor Mike Spence to join the city of Huntington Beach in rejecting Senate Bill 54, the rest of the city council ultimately did not agree and refused to even second Spence's motion to vote. This is the first of many cities in the state of California that have begun to debate this issue, with the city of San Dimas announcing that it will debate the issue in a future date. Reporting from West Covina, this is Michael Patterson, The Report program.
Going issues that don't seem to stop. On March 17, 2018, citizens nationwide hit the streets in order to protest against the issue, in hopes to see change.
4 school shootings have been reported this year. Many suggest that in order to help teachers protect themselves and their students, that they carry guns. Irene Garces mentions what she thinks about teachers and guns at school.
There's no necessity for us to know somebody who's been affected by this personally to take action on it. So I feel like I don't want to be scared when I go to school knowing that I could die, or anybody of my fellow students could die as well. You know, like my teachers, the staff. I don't want to be scared of going to school. I go to school to learn, not to be prepared to school shooting, you know? So yeah, I feel like it's something that we have to change. Something has to change now. It's been too many, it's happened too many times, and it's a moment for change now.
Capri Campbell shares her opinion on why teachers should not have guns at school.
But we don't have enough school supplies as it is for teachers available. I doubt that anybody's going to be able to provide teachers with weapons, and that ethically doesn't make any sense at all. People don't know how to use weapons as it is. We shouldn't supply teachers with weapons. Come on, guys.
No more guns! No more guns! Julia Blatt expresses her opinion on why guns at school can be detrimental to both students and staff.
That is awful, to expect a teacher to shoot and possibly kill someone. I know the teachers should protect their students, but shooting someone and killing someone is a damaging experience that should not be expected of anybody.
Katie Porter suggests that having guns at school can be avoided.
We all want them to be safe places. The way to do that is to enact common sense gun protections. Guns have no place in school except for law enforcement officers.
No decisions have been made as to whether teachers will be able to carry guns in school or not. This is Brenda Gonzalez with the Student Report. On Saturday, March 24th, thousands of students, protesters marched for gun reform after the deadly Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida. Our reporter, Heba Berry, has more on the movement.
The 800,000 young students gathered here in Washington and the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of more who joined them around the world were their own heroes. Today, they told us all that they're just getting started.
On Saturday, March 24th, the March for Our Lives protests took place in Washington, D.C., as well as in 800 related events across the country and the globe. The planning of the protest was conducted by students of all ethnicities, religions, and sexualities for stricter gun reform. The Stoneman Douglas High School shooting represented the tipping point for gun control legislation.
We don't want your thoughts and prayers, okay? Stop sending those. That's enough. We are the people who instantly said, this can be prevented, this should have been prevented, and this has been prevented in other countries.
Stoneman Douglas High School student Emma Gonzalez has been at the forefront of the movement. During the March for Our Lives protest, she delivered a compelling speech followed by a powerful moment of silence to honor the 17 killed in the shooting.
It has been 6 minutes and 20 seconds. The shooter has ceased shooting and will soon abandon his rifle, blend in with the students as they escape, and walk free for an hour before arrest. Fight for your lives before it's someone else's job.
College student Gunnar Teixeira shared his thoughts on the issue and the younger generation taking action on political matters.
We need gun control and gun regulations to properly go through background checks, mental health checks, training and safety requirements needed in everything that we do in our daily lives. I think younger generation getting involved shows we care about our future.
To all of you who are assisting us in the fight for change, thank you.
This has been Hiba Berry for the Report Program.
Coming up after this commercial break, the latest in AAU basketball and Easter Sunday celebrations around town.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Welcome back to the Report Program. Some basketball coaches of the Amateur Athletic Union, or the AAU, have been under fire for their unprofessional style of recruitment. We go to reporter Courtney Bowe for more.
A controversy has fallen on the Amateur Athletic Union, or the AAU, for their basketball coaches' unethical style of recruitment. The coaches have begun recruiting young players personally through direct messages or text messages without consulting the child's parents first. One coach, Will King, took to Instagram to share his disapproval of the unethical recruitment. He wrote, "I will never approach a kid about joining my team unless it has been presented to me by the parents." He wants coaches to stop pressuring young kids into making big decisions that they shouldn't be making alone. Maximus Bowe and Isaiah Johnson are two high school basketball players who recently won the 2018 CIF Southern Section Division 3AA Boys Basketball Championship. They open up about basketball and the opportunities that it has brought them.
After getting recruited by the team, I got to go to the Lakers game and I got new gear, like shoes and shorts and shirts.
So after winning CIF, I had to make big decisions on what kind of travel ball or AAU team I would like to play with. Some AAU coaches just want to look good and make money. It's important to have a coach that cares. For example, my high school coach, he cares about the player. He wants to teach us how to be hardworking on and off the court. It'd be nice to get a DM, direct message from them asking to play for their team, but I would like to make the ultimate decision with my family, and they could contact us as a whole, as a group, so we can make that decision together, collectively.
With such determination, it is great to see young players flourish under the right coaches and parents' guidance. This has been Courtney Bowe reporting for the Report Program.
So as we know, Easter was this past Sunday and many of us spend time with our family and friends. But at the Anaheim Marketplace, they held a free celebration for the community. Reporter Leslie Duarte has more on the details.
On Sunday, April 1st, the Anaheim Marketplace held a free Easter celebration for families and kids of all ages. The event hosted performances from local groups, carnival games, bounce houses, and crafts for kids. The kids also joined in an Easter extravaganza and collected eggs filled with goodies.
Did you guys have fun today? Yeah.
I spoke to parents about their favorite part of the celebration.
Hi, I'm Leslie Duarte. I'm with Cal State Fullerton TV, and I'm covering the event today. What's your name?
My name's Stephanie.
And your name? Desiree. Desiree. And is this your first time at this event?
It is. First time we've been here.
What is your favorite part about today's event?
It's just had a lot of activities for the kids to do, so it's been nice for them.
The kids also had a lot to say on their favorite part of the day.
My name is Nikki. And what about your name, sweetie? My name is Amalia. So what did you do today? Today I went on the jumper and I played a lot of games and I won a lot of tickets.
I'm Leslie Duarte with Cal State Fullerton News. Back to you in the studio.
A new film is giving representation to a group who doesn't always receive it, LGBTQ or not. Audiences are raving about Love, Simon, and hopeful for what this means for the future LGBTQ mainstream films. Our reporter Ryan Mathey has more on this one.
My name's Simon. I'm just like you, except I have one huge-ass secret. Nobody knows I'm gay.
Love, Simon, the coming-of-age movie, is marking progress in the mainstream entertainment industry. The film, based off the book Simon vs. the Homo Sapien Agenda, follows the character Simon Spear during his last year of high school as he comes to terms with his sexuality. The film has been praised for casting teenage actors to play teenage characters, carefully handling the main characters coming out, and acting as a guide for parents of LGBTQ children in the future. Considering the lack of positive LGBTQ films in the mainstream entertainment industry, this newfound representation is moving many, both straight and gay alike. Many, like moviegoer Edward Loera, found similarities that related to their coming out experiences.
I thought it was beautifully done, and I thought that it was a nice coming-of-age movie that resonated with me with coming out, and I thought it was perfect for anyone watching now.
While the film has been raved about, many LGBTQ viewers acknowledge that Simon's coming out is not an experience shared by all those who come out.
You don't see the bad side of it, you know? You don't see how parents sometimes neglect their kids after coming out or how they get kicked out. So it just showed the good part.
Regardless, the film is possibly foreshadowing future mainstream LGBTQ narratives to come.
I hope it starts a trend with bigger movie studios pick up on stuff like this, that it's not just one mainstream movie. It's different, and it needed to be done.
You can catch Love, Simon in theaters now. For the Report program, this has been Ryan Mathey.
With the advent of social media on the rise, millennials' attention spans have decreased as they spend more of their time scrolling through social media apps. With interaction shifting towards an online universe, how will millennials maintain what is left of their attention spans?
The sound of chatter normally fills a room when people are present. However, today, millennials have shifted towards the sound of their notifications, and with the advent of social media continuing to rise, millennials' attention spans have decreased as they spend more and more of their time scrolling through social media apps. Lauren Minuti, an entertainment and tourism club social media spokesperson as well as a Titan Radio host, is a millennial who uses social media as part of her career.
I think it's just like acknowledging it, and also like I think one of the most important things with like social media is just like learning how to use it in moderation. So like social media is great. Like I think it's normal for us to have social media accounts, and like I think there's a lot of benefits of having social media, but there's also like a lot of like negative things you could take away from that, like spending too much time on it and like being obsessed with like your image on social media. So like in general, just like using social media in moderation is like healthy, but when it goes past that point, it's unhealthy, and like you just need to know like when to put your phone down or like when to stop and like focus on like human interaction and like seeing people, hanging out with friends, and not just like being on your phone the whole time.
According to an article by Forbes writer Alice G. Walton, A study found that social media may seem like a solution to making more friends, but in reality, it isn't actually as beneficial as interactions in person. Carly Allen, one of CSUF's social media intern representatives, as well as a PRSSA member, is also another millennial who continues to use social media as part of her daily career.
So I think people pay attention to things that they want to pay attention to still,
but
now
we're
that
going to kind of ban.
so selective and specific about it that they won't actually make themselves learn about anything that could be beneficial. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
With social media applications continuing to dominate the attention spans of millennials today, how will they continue to change? I'm Corey Mack, reporting for the Report program.
We'll have more as the story develops.
So what do you guys think of social media doing?
Well, I think that there needs to be more research as far as how negatively impacting it can be.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good platform, but people misuse it sometimes.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
You have to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
So are you tired of eating the same food at the food court? Students at Cal State Fullerton can enjoy fresh and local product at the farmers market held on campus every other Tuesday. Here's Brock Howard with more.
The Cal State Fullerton Farmers Market can be seen on campus on Tuesdays through the month of March from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The market allows students to come across small local businesses such as Dulce Manchetes.
Hi, I'm Grace with Dolce Monticelli's. We're a family-owned business locally here in Fullerton, California. We do gourmet desserts dating back 15 years. They're family recipes.
The various tents in the quad make it easier for students to try foods other than their typical college diets, including organic, all-natural foods.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shifa Honey, where everything is sweet and yummy, so good for your tummy. Two main things that we try to provide with Shifa is that first, it's all local honey from California and 100% raw. We don't process it, we don't add anything to it, we don't take anything out of it. That is Shifa Honey for you.
For future ASI events on campus, visit the webpage asi.fullerton.edu. This is Brock Howard.
In nearby Santa Ana, the CSUF Grand Central Arts Center hosts up and upcoming artist Yasmin Kasum. Is featured in this spring session. Tamika Adams has more on this artist in her exhibit.
At the center of downtown Orange County's Artist Village, the Grand Central Arts Center hosts innovative and engaging artists like Yasmin Kasum.
I'm not really a performance artist, so I can make objects instead. These abstractions of emotion or grief, which is where Muasa came from. My father said, oh, we should call it Muasa because it means to comfort a person in grieving, and I was like, that's what all of this work is about. But the work also opened up another section of my practice as well. Being afraid that I was pigeonholing myself into this idea of like, I'm an Egyptian artist, I'm a Muslim woman artist, like I'm gonna make artwork about the things that bother me, but I'm gonna do it in a way that, you know, outsiders can understand really easily. And I had found other artists who identified similarly and had written about not wanting that path. I don't really want that to be the only thing about me. And so I used to highlight the elements of a woman's actions with this bronze, this shiny polished bronze versus this, you know, this like earthy gray texture that was kind of rough in appearance. Obscuring the monolith through making artworks that are about identity and layering and the tensions and the intersections of identity. And I'm working in more abstract ways, which is really new for me because I've always worked in a narrative on purpose, which is I need people to see a recognizable form so that they can have a connection and then we can have a conversation. This is about my story.
Muasa will be at the Grand Central Arts Center till April 15th. I'm Tamika Adams for the Report program. Well, that's all the time we have for the report today. Stay tuned for more news, views, and info. I'm your host, Tamika Adams.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Marisela Perez.
And I'm Brenda Gonzalez. Stay fresh, Fullerton.